Welcome to Magic in Media, the podcast brought to you by the Vibe Collective and myself, Carly D., a tarot reader and manager here at the Vibe Collective. This podcast blends magic with the current pop culture news and moments to show you the magic that is around us every day. Welcome to our first Magic in Music episode. We have the wonderful Heidi joining us, and we are going to talk about the magic that shows up in music and media. So, Heidi is a practitioner here with the Vibe. She is our licensed therapist on staff, and she specializes in empowerment sessions, which she will tell us more about as our podcast goes on today. But Heidi finds music, live music, shows, and our connection to music as something so special and healing on both a professional and personal level. She sees the impact music has on us and how it can help us with our mental health and growth. So, Heidi, welcome to Magic in Media. How are you today?
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is my
Yay!
first podcast. I'm really excited.
Well, this is the perfect first podcast for you to be on.
Yes, I
And
love it.
we specifically chose this topic because Heidi and I do talk a lot about music and the magic that we see in it. And it's no surprise to anyone listening that there is indeed magic in music. So this will not be our last magic in music episode, I'm sure. But I am so excited to have Heidi here to talk about it. So what Heidi is going to share with us today, and we're going to kind of go into, is the magic around live music events,
Mm.
community live music events. Think Woodstock. Think the music festivals that are so popular right now. There's
Think
music
that
festivals for
Electric
almost everything.
Forest,
Electric Forest,
Bonnaroo. I mean, I could go on and on.
Coachella,
I could go on and on.
so many different music festivals.
Mm.
So Heidi, tell us, where do you see the value in music festivals, in live music and connecting with music from your standpoint as a therapist?
So, from my standpoint, so for me personally, live music is the only time that I feel 1000% present in what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm listening to the music, I'm dancing, I'm hanging out with my friends. I have like not a care in the world, right? So, for me, I call it my happy place. It's the place where I feel most grounded, most present. And most happy, to be honest, right? And so, there are so many healing properties around that. Like you could be having a terrible day or a terrible week, but you know you have that concert tonight and you're going to go and you're going to forget that bad week or forget that bad day and you're just going to be in your happy place and you're going to be light and free and smiling and just having a wonderful, wonderful time. And, when it comes to community, and I see this both professionally and personally. Where I live, there there are music lovers. There is a community of people who are always going out to see live music, and you're always seeing the same people at the same shows. And so it helps reignite some friendships. It gives you new friendships. It gives you new connections. It grows that community for you. And, I know that where I live, no matter what concert I go to, I'm always going to run into, probably at least five people that I know, right? Sometimes it's the ones you always see at the shows. Sometimes you're like, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, what are you doing here? And so it does, there is this sense of calm and peace that comes just from the music itself. And then there is also this feeling of connection because people who are into music are into music. I mean, it's a thing, right?
For sure.
Um, so, that's and this summer, I think I went to like two concerts where I'd never heard the music before. Like I had a friend like, "Oh, you want to come to the show with me?" Yeah, sure. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And a couple of my friends were like, I can't believe you didn't listen to this before you came." And I was like, I wanted to be surprised and I wanted to like have the experience of what the band is or whatever without these preconceived notions, right? So
I love that.
um it brings me a sense of calm and peace that nothing else in the world does. And it is um, just the experience of being in that place and watching the magic happen. I feel
Absolutely.
I have no musical talent at all. And so when I watch these musicians, I'm like so jealous because I'm like, oh, I couldn't
In
even figure
awe.
out how to like blow the flute one time in second grade, you know? So I am watching in awe and I love drummers, I love bassists, and I love horns. So those are like, that's where I'm going to focus and the energy and oh my God, it's just like so, it is magic. It is magic that these talented people are coming together to create something so special and unique that a lot of
Absolutely.
times can't be repeated either, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that is the difference in listening to like live music versus recorded music, you know? And that's the point we're even making with live music is it is what I would say like tangible energy, you know, like
Yes.
what you're describing. Like, of course, we feel the magic when we're jamming in the car, you know, and listening to our favorite song. But no one can deny that when you're in that room with the artist, there is a different energy.
It doesn't compare to feeling the beat on the ground, right?
Absolutely.
When you're
Being right
driving in
in
your
that room.
car, yeah,
Yeah.
it is so, and then even the energy that the crowd brings, right? I mean,
Right.
it's contagious and you
Absolutely.
feel it and it
Oh, for
really
sure.
raises your vibration like
Yeah.
huge.
And that's what that is Woodstock, you know, when you think of music festivals, that's the legendary comes to mind. And that is, you know, another thing that is huge with those live events is the energetic kind of shift. Now, of course, we're not going to talk about this as much, but sometimes it's not always positive. You know, we see festivals of, I even think back to Selena, you know, like there
Hmm.
was a festival or a concert she had where people were pushed so hard in the front of the crowd, you know, that they were squished. And
Yep.
energy if it's not controlled, you know. And I think there is, if we dive down deeper, like, you know, rabbit holes, there are artists who curate energy going into their show, which I think is really important. I had a friend who was working with the artist Miguel, and she was doing a live show with him, and he actually did a meditation with everyone on his
Oh,
team before
wow.
every live show, you
I
know.
love that.
So, right? So talk about like cure, even the artist really should be responsible for curating that energy. And something I wanted to touch on and ask you about too is, you know, I myself am a concert lover too, you know, so I go to lots of shows. And I do think that if you are energetically sensitive or an empath, you take on that energy. A lot of the times I'll talk to people who are like, well, I went to a concert last night. You know, I only had 2 drinks the whole time, but I was so tired the next day. And it's like, it's tiring you out, not just because you're out late, you know, enjoying the
I
music. It
for
energetically drains you.
Well, for me, it energetically fills me up, right? It
Right.
doesn't if when I come home from live music, it's going to be a good 2 hours for me to unwind and be able to go to
Yeah.
sleep. And yeah, I may feel
So
tired
true.
next day. Next day, I might be like, oh, okay, Heidi, you're getting a little old for these, late night concerts in the middle of the week or whatever, and I would not trade that energy for the
Right.
energy that I felt in the moment, right?
100%.
It's like, and the as I'm getting older, it's not as easy to go to as many concerts. And it's not, there was one concert this summer where I was like, oh, now I'm chair dancing. Yay, right? Um, and my friend looked at me and he was like, at least you're here. And I was like,
At least you're
ooh,
dancing.
right. And so for me, it actually fills my cup. It actually, um, it
It's a good type of.
recharges me. It recharges me. It's like,
Yep.
ooh, I was able to drain all that negative stuff so that, now I'm ready for whatever new stuff is coming in kind of. And, I think that um the magic of music, as we get older, we don't drink as much when we go to concerts and stuff like that. And it does, it is, you're like, oh, wow, I'm still feeling all this great energy without having a couple drinks. And who knew that could happen, right? That's the magic of music, though, you
Truly.
know? So,
Truly.
yeah, you could feel tired and drained the next day because you were walking and you were dancing and you were this and you were that. I don't think it takes away from the energy that you
You're
gained.
gaining.
Yep,
Yeah, exactly.
yep,
Yeah. And that's so true. And I mostly I guess too I'm thinking there are some shows or depending on what you're doing at the shows that could energetically drain you if you're not careful, you know. But like you
100%.
said, if you're having fun, you're obviously staying within your limits, you're not over imbibing, and you have that like, brought up energy, you're so right of like maybe you have a little trouble coming down when you get home.
And
But
I think festivals kind of make that like the- festivals make that sort of drain tired energy more, right? Because you're
yeah,
multiple
you don't have
days in a
time to
row,
recover.
no time to multiple days in a row.
Yep.
I actually, for being the music lover that I am, I've only been to one music festival ever, and it was Rothbury Music Festival, which is now called
Yay.
Electric Forest. Right. Now I've gone to see like the same band for like two, three, 4 nights in a row. um and so when you talk about the energy in the community, it's like, what are you doing to recharge for the next night,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think festivals put a whole different spin on that. Now a lot of these festivals, they have their areas where you can go and get a chair massage, you can go and do yoga, you can, there are like,
Yep.
which is like such a cool component of a music festival. Like, I think those things are awesome. And the benefit of the other, another benefit of music festivals is you get to see multiple bands in the same place rather than,
Oh yeah.
right. So, and you get, I'm older, and so it would probably take me 2 weeks to recover from a music
Yeah.
festival now.
I've done quite a few over the years too. I started going to music festivals when I was 21, right before
Yep.
I turned 21. I just turned 31 this year. I did go to Electric Forest last year, and the recovery from 21 to 30
It's
definitely
different.
different.
It's definitely
Definitely hits
different.
different. But you're so right of it is about recovering, taking care of yourself. And honestly, when I go to lots of concerts and festivals, I do wear certain crystals for energy protection, just like I
Yes.
would if I go to like an airport or a hospital. And that is just if you're an energetically sensitive person and you're around a lot of people, you're gonna pick up that energy. So if you are a sensitive person, maybe wear like a black tourmaline to your next concert or carry some selenite with you.
And listen, especially if you are someone who does like to indulge in substances at concerts and music festivals, um, what I hope that everybody hears is that those things um, can really affect your mental health, right?
Right.
So you can be feeling really down and depressed, like when you're coming off of being at a festival or a concert, So I want
Hmm.
everybody to be like very aware and mindful, like indulge in substances. I'm not saying don't, do it carefully and be mindful that it might also knock you on your butt for like 3 or 4 days that you weren't anticipating,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. There's a whole other energetic aspect with
There's
that
a,
as
yes,
well as to
yes.
what you're opening yourself up to. And I mean, honestly, even like venues, lots of venues have haunted energy, have kind of like just
Mhm.
spiritual energy in these older theaters and stuff where concerts are held. So I kind of remind people of that too, like you might feel like some hauntedness. There's lots of shows that are put on at the Masonic Temple in Detroit.
Mhm.
There's no way there's not some little ghost energy happening
Seriously,
there. Lots of
100%.
these old theaters have a lot of energy and history. So that is definitely something to pay attention to.
Say the stones you said again, because I liked that.
So I like black tourmaline and
Yep.
selenite. So black tourmaline is a little black crystal. It's very good for protection and protecting your energy. So selenite, kind of on the other hand, is actually this. And usually I have a piece around here, but
I
of
have
course
a
not right now.
I can show you my selenite
Yeah, it's like
bowl.
white. It's like
It's my
milky white.
selenite bowl that I use to
Oh,
charge.
yes.
I used to
Perfect.
charge
Crystals.
my
Perfect.
bracelet.
Exactly. So selenite is actually a cleansing crystal. So I always tell people if you can't sage or like, spray cleansing spray or something somewhere where people are maybe smell sensitive or smoke sensitive, You can bring selenite with you as a cleansing tool, so it's
Love
a
it.
cleansing crystal. So you can always kind of have that on you when you're at a place or at a show. If you are someone who's hearing this and you're like, dang, actually, yeah, I do feel this energeticness when I go to shows, maybe you'd benefit from a little extra protection or mindfulness, like Heidi is saying too. So, something we also want to share, because of course, magic in media is about pop culture moments and how they connect, right? So we have two instances where we've really seen with our own eyes the magic show up in a live performance. So I'll let Heidi go ahead and tell our first one because she connected to that one, and
Well,
do
so
you remember watching it?
hold on. Do you not know that like he's my like A number one? Have we not ever talked about
I
this?
mean, I didn't know he's your A number one,
A
but
number
I
one.
know he is a lot of people,
A
so I'm not
number one.
surprised.
I miss him so much.
That's your
I
person.
I am picturing this halftime performance in my head right now because who sings Purple Rain while it's raining? How did that even happen? Right? Like, so, okay, so we're talking about Prince's Super Bowl halftime show, which I was fortunate enough to see him live 3 times in my life. And I wish I had started going sooner and saw him more. Um, to me, it is the most iconic, best Super Bowl halftime show ever. Uh, yes, I'm biased also. However, it just there was not and will never be another musician like him, and the energy and the magic that he brings. I mean, I just feel like he was a magical creature in and of himself, right? Like the music, the magic, the you know, the costumes, the outfits, he was like probably the first person in my life that kind of said, his music sort of said to me like, I'm gonna be me and I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about it, right? And I was like, ooh, okay, let me figure out how to do that, right? So I maintain, I'm sure there's people listening who might disagree, but I will definitely maintain still to this day, best Super Bowl halftime performance to
Of
date.
all time.
To
And
date.
magical. So they even said when the rain started at the halftime show and he was playing Purple Rain, he was like, "Can I play this guitar in the rain?" Like honestly, like he's like, how much did we pay for this?" And I'm sure he did, right? Went on to
Yes.
play it. But that is just so funny,
I mean, I
that
can
like
just
you're right,
like
it's
see,
perfect.
I'm like picturing in my head, like him, I think him at his piano and the rain just coming down in the background. And you're just sitting there like,
Amazing.
you
Right.
know, I think he was a genius in his own right. And he was like the first musician who played every instrument and like the magic that man made. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Honestly, one of my good friends and mentor, Kim, so shout out Kim, she loves Prince too. And everything you're saying, just the magic, there is no one like him. And she's one of the most magical people I know. So I can see how that connection coincides and with the way he really inspired so many people to, like you said, embrace their own magic, be themselves, lean into what makes you you.
And I'll
So
tell
that's
you, like with these unprecedented times, I bought myself and another good friend of mine who like we've been talking for years about going to Paisley Park. Um, we have T-shirts, these unprecedented times. We have T-shirts that say "Dearly beloved, we have gathered here to get through this thing called life," and the fact that that has so much meaning and so much power still today, so
right.
long after those lyrics were written, that's the I
Yeah,
just
they're messengers, I mean, we could do
yes.
a whole maybe that should be our next episode.
Ooh.
The messengers, that messengers,
Musical
messengers.
magicians.
I might have to
Messengers.
look more into that one
Ooh, I
because they
like that
are
one.
truly, and if you look at birth charts of many music artists, you see almost their destiny playing out in the birth chart. So it is very interesting. So
Now,
now
before
that
you get into the next one, what I want to say is this next one was also very, very, very good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very, very, very good.
That's why I was like, this. I mean, I, of course, Beyonce's Coachella, Baychella 2018. I get chills even just talking about it. I remember the first time I watched it, definitely watched it several times. But this was her meticulously crafted show celebrating Black culture and historical Black colleges and universities and their empowerment. So it wasn't just a concert, but a cultural milestone. And many who were there described it as historic and spiritual. You can see it when you watch it, you can feel it through the screen. Another huge,
My
huge thing.
understanding is seeing her in concert is very
Yes.
spiritual and magical as well.
Yes.
Um, you know, I absolutely love Beyonce. I love her music. I love everything she stands for. I just, she's another magical being, you know?
Truly, truly. And even in this performance, I remember thinking this when I saw it in 2018. It is so meticulously crafted because Beyonce is a Virgo. So if she's going to do something, it's going to be done right. It's going to be done
Yes.
organized within an inch of its life. And watching the behind the scene footage in the documentary of her making it is she is like, we're going to do it again until it's right. We're going to do it again until it's right. And that is such Virgo energy. So I remember that really being one of the first times in pop culture where I was really clocking like her Virgo-ness. And I
Hmm.
think as this was 2018, right? So as time has gone on, we've only seen that more and more. Her commitment to her craft and like really making sure that the messages that she is, sending are there. So I, like I said, absolutely loved that show. Probably going to watch it this week after seeing it there. But these are just moments where it is so true. These are live musical moments, the Prince show and the Beyonce show, where once it's done, that's it, right?
Yep.
And anyone who was there, you carry that experience with you, right?
Hmm.
So the magic made in those moments, it can't be replicated. It's all felt through like this stadium, like we said, as a community, feeling all of this energy that's being built. But sometimes a show, specifically these ones we wanted to point out, kind of take it that step further,
Hmm.
where so much has been put into these shows that you leave knowing you really like experienced something
But
special,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, and I had one experience and I wanted, if Heidi has one to share, she's going to share with us too. Once I was at a show for the band Kronben, and I've seen them several times. I love them. But at this specific show, it was at a music festival, Mopop in Detroit. They lost power to their stage, right? So this was a music festival
Oh
with several
my.
stages.
Yeah.
Right before their set, they lost power to the stage. Would have been so easy, I kind of thought, for them to just kind of go to the side and wait for it to be fixed. But instead, the band grabbed like drumsticks, glass bottles, started banging on, like whatever they could, and brought the crowd in to start like singing and dancing. And that is just where I, was there in this place of you see the power that can happen and the crowd can shift. And they really made the most of this. And the music came back on, their power came back on,
That's
and it was all
amazing.
good. But kind of that little, like moment where we all were, banging drumsticks and just kind of singing
Yeah.
along changed the moment, made it a little more special, and something that I would always remember, especially
I
about that
love
show.
that.
So is there a show that stands out to you, Heidi, or that is
Oh,
memorable?
goodness. Um, well, okay, so yes, a show that stands out to me is very, very memorable besides the Prince shows, obviously. Um, I saw Peter Gabriel a long time ago. I'm not going to say what decade because, and people who are listening who maybe saw this tour will know what I'm talking about. So, Peter Gabriel is so creative and so um, it, just the way he comes up with stuff and then lays it out and has it come to fruition is really so. Um, I'm embarrassed to say I don't remember what album tour this was, um, and it was at a Coliseum where I saw him, and he started the show by coming up from underneath the stage in one of those English telephone booths, the red telephone,
Yeah.
right? And it was it's at that point it was the most theatrical concert I have ever been to. Like when he sang Digging in the Dirt, he had a big pile of dirt and he was running all over the dirt. And um, there were a few more like theatrical things where I sat there like, whoa, like I already loved this guy's music. And now look what he's bringing to a live stage. It was really like, wow. Like that was the first time I had seen so much creativity and kind of a more theatrical performance rather than people just up there playing music and singing their songs. And I still to this day can like picture it in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, no way. Like, it's just one of those
Blew
moments
your
that just
mind.
really, yeah, it just sticks with you. And that was a long, long time ago. I'm sure I'll have to come up with some other ones for our next podcast
Yeah.
because I'm
But that's
sure
so
there's
true. I
one of the
mean,
things that
I
I
think
love the most is when the bands get the audience involved. And there is nothing that will send chills up my spine more than a whole community of people singing a song together.
oh yeah,
Chills up
right?
my, like, I love it. I get goosebumps, chills up my spine. I'm singing at the top of my lungs, even though I have the worst voice ever.
Right. Like I
I,
want to bottle that
I
feeling up and drink
love
it.
that. I love it. I love it. I love it when, everybody's just singing.
Right. I know. I love it too. It's like, and it makes you want to go to a concert, right? Just sitting here talking about
Mhm.
it. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
Heidi,
And
thank you so much for joining us and telling
thank you
us.
so much for having me.
Of course, and before you go, you have to let us know what your services are here with the Vibe Collective, what you're doing here with us, and how you are helping people evolve and grow.
Okay, so with the Vibe Collective, listen, I'm just going to call it what it is, which is life coaching. We're choosing not to call it life coaching because life coaching and coaches get a really bad rap. The reason this is life coaching is because I am a credentialed, licensed professional. So I didn't go out and get some BS life coaching certificate or
Right.
whatever. I've been doing this for a really long time. And basically, there's a huge component of therapy that is coaching, truthfully.
Yes.
So we're calling it empowerment because, well, actually, I don't want to give away too much because this week's Ask Heidi answers the question, what's the difference between therapy and coaching? So recently I started doing a weekly Ask Heidi where we
Yes.
get questions sent to the Vibe Collective. It can be anything about mental health, goals, relationships, careers. It can be whatever. Um, and then once a week, we're posting the answers. This has been so much fun for me. I'm really, really loving it. And so basically, my role with the Vibe Collective is to support you in whatever your kind of life goals are. We come up with some strategies to empower you to meet those goals and to make positive changes in your life. And we get to do that without diagnoses, without it, it's
Right.
just not as formal, which I really love. So that's the main thing that I do with the Vibe Collective. We've got the Ask Heidi. I'm very into menopause and supporting women that are going through perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. So we're going to brainstorm some new ideas for stuff like that, and I'm just grateful to be part of this community because I think it is so awesome. I think we have so much potential, and I feel really grateful to be a part of all of this. And I love helping people. I love helping people reach their goals, make positive changes. I try to be kind of funny and put humor into things so it's a little bit lighthearted. And so that's my gig at the Vibe right now.
Yeah, Heidi's the best. So, you guys, it really is like I've had a session with Heidi before, and honestly, I probably should do another one soon, especially going into this winter.
Thanks,
But it,
Carly.
right, but it is so like needed, you know, and I think especially right now with kind of what the way healthcare is, you may be having a hard time finding a consistent therapist, but right now you might need someone to talk to. And that is really what the empowerment sessions are there for. Come with one question, come with one problem or situation you have, even, and unload it. Not unload it, even, that's not the right word, but share it with
Talk it
Heidi.
through.
So
Talk it
talk
through.
through it. yeah, maybe this is something, that you're kind of sick of talking about with your friends or your partners, and, they can only have so much input or so much help in it, and you need a new sounding board, and you need
And you
someone to
don't want
kind
to go
of
to
do.
therapy, maybe you're not
Right.
not like this is a great alternative to have an outlet of
Yes.
someone to talk to consistently or regularly as you need it, that you
Right.
don't have to feel intimidated of like, oh, I'm going to therapy and I'm going to cry and I'm going to have to tell my deepest darkest secrets.
Exactly.
This is not that.
Yep, it's not a trauma dump, which is something Heidi and I have talked about before too, is therapy can be intimidating because it feels like a bit of a trauma dump or an emotional dump, where Heidi's sessions are like, we're not getting into your childhood. We're talking about the now, right? What are you currently going through? Where do we want to be? And what do we need to do to get there, from step
Yep.
A to step
Yep.
B? So that is what empowerment sessions are. So if you ever
Yep.
have any questions, let us know. There's more information on our website, and you can book with Heidi at www.thevibcollective.co. And there are links in our bios to bookings through all of our social media as well. So if you
Love
ever
it.
have any questions, though, send us a message. We'd be happy to help and point you in the
This
right
is so
direction.
fun. This little podcasting is so fun. Oh my God, I had a great time.
I
Thanks
love
for
it.
having me.
Well, Heidi will be back, I'm sure. Thank
Yes.
you so much for joining us, and
Yes.
we will see you soon. Have a great day,
Okay.
Heidi.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Wow, huge, huge thank you to Heidi for coming on the podcast and talking to us about music and how much it means to her. I absolutely love Heidi. Her services are amazing. Definitely check her out. But we are going to continue wrapping up the podcast. I have a couple more topics about magic and music that I wanted to touch on today. So, my next topic is actually songs as spells. So, I think a lot of the time we can think of certain songs or artists who create music or songs that have intention and almost are like a spell when they are saying them. First one that comes to mind is the Queen, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac, Silver Springs. Time casts a spell on you, but you won't forget me. We all know the viral moment where she's singing this at her bandmate. He truly never could forget her or get away from her voice. Still to this day, Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks make music together. And of course, because of them, we have Fleetwood Mac. Stevie Nicks is known as a white witch. She is known for using magic, and thinking of her, we couldn't have a magic and music episode without talking about Stevie Nicks. Another favorite of mine is Ariana Grande. Lots of her songs have spells or magic in them. One of my favorite songs of all time by her is Just Like Magic. Listen to it, you'll get what I mean. In her current single, Yes, and there's a part in the middle where she talks about protecting her own energy. Again, go listen to it yourself. And that song is literally a spell. So there are certain songs that if an artist that you love has, and it makes you feel a certain way, makes you feel that magic, maybe use that song to power yourself up, to amp yourself up, and tap into your own magic. And that is something your What Can You Do This Week from the Magic and Media podcast. What can you do this week? Find your song that is a spell. Find your song that really amps you up, gives you good energy when you're going into something, and just has the magic for you. Um, a couple other songs that are spells I have on here are Florence and the Machine. Even just Shake It Out is the main one I think of. Shake out your energy. If you're ever having a weird day, literally just listen to that song, shake out your negative energy, and you can feel a shift in yourself. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, I have on here. I think that there is something haunting about that song, but in a really beautiful way, and really just putting that emphasis on I will always love you. If you look at Whitney Houston's birth chart, a huge aspect of it is relationships and love. So I think she loved so many people. There's a big aspect of her relationships, and how that all kind of connects, I really feel, to her journey. So I have her on here too. Now, Another person who I would say kind of can use energy, or at least in this story I read about, I thought was an interesting use of energy in a live show. I have Billie Eilish. Uh, some of her songs I feel have a certain energy to them that you can use um, to kind of I don't even know how to describe it, but if you've ever yelled happier than ever in your car before, then you understand what I mean. But something that she is known for, I found, is actually when she was kind of starting out in smaller venues, she would ask them to turn off all the lights when playing Ocean Eyes to just kind of make it more intense, right? And like feel that energy a little bit more. So I always think, kind of going back to, what Heidi and I talked about with live music, it's interesting to see like what artists do to kind of shift the energy or change the energy in their own shows. So we have this idea of songs as spells as really your what you can do this week to bring more magic into your life. Find your song that is a spell. Find your magic song. Now, the last thing I want to touch on today is something that I have definitely noticed, and I couldn't do a magic in media episode again without touching on this. So we are going to talk about KATSYE. KATSYE is a really international girls group that debuted in 2024. If you haven't heard about them yet, you will soon. They are known for very popular songs like Touch, Gnarly, and many more. But why we are talking about it, where does the magic come in? So, coinciding with the start of KATSYE, they really premiered in June of 2024. In November of 2024, Pluto moved into Aquarius. This is a huge shift that really happened in decades. I even think of Pluto as affecting like generations because it does not change that often, right? It stays here for decades in this sign. So now Pluto is in Aquarius. And Aquarius, this happened just last year in 2024, all coinciding with a lot of KATSEYE's release. So, Aquarius is a sign associated with innovation, technology, community, humanitarian ideas, and overall collective movements. That is something always we can tap into with Aquarius, right? Is really humanitarian, community, diversity, I would say. And then we have this element of innovation and technology. So, with this Pluto shift, we would see shifts in social systems, technology, collective consciousness, dismantling of old power structures, and welcoming in the flavor of new or humanitarian based things. Why does Cat's Eye connect to this shift from Pluto going into Aries or Aquarius? First thing, I will go ahead and say technology, right? What you'll notice with Cat's Eye is that their songs often have a TikTok dance attached to them. They were meant to be, their media, their music was meant to be consumed not only audibly, but visually. And if you watch their Netflix, really the making of Cat's Eye Popstar Academy, they talk about that there too, where they are very intentionally and actively using technology to build their brand and to really spread their music far and wide, making it an international girl group. That really brings us to what is another thing about Aquarius? Community, humanitarian, ethnic diversity is a huge, huge part of Cat's Eye. This is an international girls group made up of, Indian culture. One is from the Philippines. Sophia's from the Philippines. They're from all over the world, basically, which is again very Aquarius, very humanitarian. And that is something to think about as we're seeing these new groups come in or these new artists. Are they using technology more? Yes. Are they embracing diversity more? Yes. And that is huge shifts with Pluto and Aquarius. Even their styling is very like high fashion. They say like Y2K meets like cyber feminine, which is again very Aquarius. We're talking technology, we're talking innovation. So Cat's Eye is really just getting started. Like I said, they just really technically debuted in June of 2024, and then we saw the shift in Pluto in November of 2024, and now they've been on the rise ever since then. Another thing I loved about their group name, Cat's Eye, is they chose it to symbolize intuition, awareness, and strength. I'm going to read those again because they're so perfect. Intuition, awareness, and strength. And that is something I feel we can all use more of going into a new era with this new age of Aquarius. So definitely check out KATSYE if you haven't before or you haven't already. They are an amazing girls group. Learn their TikTok dances if you're into TikTok dances, but definitely pay attention. Keep your eye out for some maybe new music artists or artists that we see using technology or utilizing technology to really get their music out more and in a different way. So yes, that is our first really magic in media, magic in music episode. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, if you ever have any questions about the Vibe Collective, our services, you want to book your own personal birth chart reading, tarot reading, pet communication, mediumship reading, we have all of that and we are happy to set you up with your own personal appointment. So always send us a message if you have any questions, but have a great week. Thank you for joining us for Magic in Media and find the magic in your own life today.